Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Daryl, Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. I got some emails that asked me to split up both Benjamin Netanyahu's interview, where he says that because they have these database cards with 98% of the Israelis on them with all their, whatever medications they're taking, whatever their diseases they may have or infections, whatever, 98% of Israel's population has this database card. And he said that Pfizer, because Pfizer didn't test the shot or the vax or the jab on people who are taking, like for meningitis, for blood pressure, for chemotherapy, etc., thyroid, they did not test against the contraindications against that vaccine. And a lot of people are going to say, well, Daryl, this is the 21st century. We have better ways to do that, better protocols. Well, as we can see on many of the protocols, people die. So they asked me to split it up. So I did the first one on Benjamin Netanyahu. That video is called The Lab of Israel per Benjamin Netanyahu possibly caused lack of semper paratus with the Hamas invasion. And for those of you who don't know the Greek semper paratus, always ready, and they used to be. I don't know what happened, and I did the hypothesis about brain fog, and you can find that on my YouTube channel, Daryl Guberman, or you can even just Google brain fog and find out. Now, they try to attribute it to the fact that you got the COVID virus and it causes brain fog later on down. Not a 3 months, 4 months, but a year down, whatever, year and a half, 2 years, whatever. What happened is most of the people that I know who got the injection, I did not, because you'll hear that Albert Bourla said this vaccine was made in the sun through strict and stringent quality processes and standards. And you find out that Pfizer sits on the American National Standards Institute by the FAA, USDA, CDC, NIH, etc. So everybody's in bed with one another. So this video today is about Albert Bourla, Veterinarian Pfizer CEO, did not trust his own product and admits to vaccine hesitancy. We have him here with Miss Megan Terrell from MSNBC. And I find it absolutely disgusting and deplorable. You have Pfizer sitting on ANZI's board. Anybody who sits on ANZI's board is a lot of them are fudging documentation, like Boeing got caught fudging documentation. Who do they sit by? The FAA. And the FAA fined Boeing for fudging documentation. That must have been very glaring a discrepancy for the FAA, because they basically seceded inspection, which meant gave away inspection to Boeing in 2009, where Boeing can design, develop, build, and fly, and possibly do flight worthiness, and while the FAA just initialed it. And that's on 737 MAX, and we know about that, with MCAST and all this. It could have been the AOG Technics false parts in those engines, but they said that they are used for spare parts. And I used to work in aerospace, and if there was a short to deliver item, aircraft, they would take a part out of spares and put it on the aircraft. So don't think for a moment that didn't happen with the CFM56 engine, which is made by a combination of Sarafan and GE. So this video again, Albert Bourla, Veterinarian, Pfizer CEO, did not trust his own product and admits to vaccine hesitancy. And now I'm going to play this for you, and we're going to bring this thing to a close. But this is for those people who wanted me to split these two up, because I did give a lot concerning brain fog in the last video, letting you listen to Benjamin Netanyahu and also Albert Bourla. This is strictly Albert Bourla, and here he is.
I want to ask you also about a very important issue of vaccine hesitancy. Even folks who get most of their vaccines normally might be hesitant about these vaccines because they were developed so quickly. What do you tell those folks who might be saying, well, I'm going to wait a few months before I get this one?
I would tell them I wish that the situation was not so critical so that they can have the luxury to think about it. But the situation is as deadly as it could be right now. with the amounts of deaths or new cases that we are facing. So they need to think it twice. This is a vaccine that was developed without cutting corners from a company with 171 years of credentials. This is a vaccine that was developed in the spotlight and the daylight with all the data being put in servers. This is a vaccine that has been approved in the US by two separate governmental agencies, CDC and FDA, after listening to two separate independent scientific bodies. One is the FDA and the other is the ACIP for the CDC. And this is a vaccine that is getting approved by all authorities in the world. So that should say something to them. And I repeat once more, the decision not to vaccinate will not affect only your health or your life. Unfortunately, it will affect the lives of others and likely the lives of the people you love the most, which are the people that usually you are in contact with. So I think trust science.
Well, and a question for you. I've heard you have not yet had your shot. When do you plan to get it?
The sooner I can, I will. The only sensitivity here, Meg, is that I don't want to have an example that I'm cutting the line. That I am 59 years old, in good health. I'm not working in the front line. So my type is not recommended to get vaccination now. So that's one consideration. On the other hand, our company ran a lot of polls to see what would take people to believe it. And one of the highest ranking, even higher than if Joe Biden takes it, even higher than if the other presidents take it, it is if the CEO of the company takes it. So with that in mind, I'm trying to find a way that I will get vaccinated despite if it is not my time, just to demonstrate the confidence of the company. But we have made a decision that if we have to do that, we will not do it with our executives. So none of the executives or board members will cut the line. They will take it as their age and the occupation type is a time for them to take.
For those of you who took the shot at the end of the needle, how do you feel? Do you feel confident about that shot? When you have the CEO of Pfizer having vaccine hesitancy. Trust science, he says. When you have the CEO saying how great, how quality-oriented the manufacturing process was with this vaccine, and then you find out that Pfizer skipped critical testing and cut corners in quality standards, documents reveal. Do you know, they used to have a saying when I was a kid, haste makes waste. And that's basically what has happened with this whole COVID vaccine. I know that personally, I've had friends of mine who had blood clots from the J&J shot. In fact, you'll find a document from Yale School of Medicine within my description talking about that. I've had people, friends of mine, tell me that they've had friends in their family and also my friends in their family had people who died after they got the vaccine. If it rushed out and you have them skipping quality processes and standards, in medications, it's sometimes very difficult. If they had that 10 to 15 year trial, this may have ameliorated the situation with the vaccine being, who knows, being less hazardous as it has become more hazardous. And I'm going to leave it here. I don't want this to be long-winded. You see the factor that Pfizer's CEO, who's a certified veterinarian, when they say people who took the shot are sheeple, well, he's a veterinarian. That's the name. I'm going to leave it here. It's a sad, sad moment in time. Because when you have the CEO of the company who manufactured the leading vaccine, supposedly, of COVID-19, Pfizer, and he has vaccine hesitancy, and he said the product is great, 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 but when you see this, that they skip quality processes and standards, Maybe he knew about that and he was scared to take it himself. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. My heart goes out to you who took that, and I will say this as a Jewish man. When you had companies, hospitals tell their nurses and medical staff to take it or you're going to get fired, you should have walked off your job. And I know a lot of you are saying, I have a mortgage, I have a car, I have all the rest of this. Then you know what you would have done to the economy? You would have made it crash, okay? As Thomas Paine said, it is impossible to comprehend the moral mischief, if I may so express it, that mental lying has produced in our society. When a man or woman has so far corrupted and prostituted the chastity of their mind as to subscribe their professional beliefs to things they do not believe, they have prepared themselves a commission for every other crime. And when you have the CEO of the company that makes a leading vaccine, saying that it was made in the sun, it's very quality, and you find this. How do you feel, those people who took your vaccine? But you know something, many of you might have brain fog, so you can't connect what I'm saying to you. I see that a lot when I'm out with people. I try to stay away because you know something, because of brain fog. A lot of people are hesitant in how they're talking, and there's 54.6%, I think it's a lot more in America that had taken the shot. But when I heard about if you don't take it, you're going to lose your job, that's the same thing Hitler did. 1938. He forced things down people's throats, and they, like sheep, followed suit. I'm going to leave it here. For those of you who took this shot, whether it's Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, or Pfizer, my heart goes out to you because you have now absolute evidence that the CEO should have rolled up his sleeves, Albert Bourla at Pfizer, and taken the shot. Instead, he's got multi-million-dollar bonuses from pushing the shot out and getting our tax money. This is Daryl Guberman, 203-556-1493, or Daryl, TQRS, @yahoo.com. And I thank you, by the way, for those of you who wrote me and asked me to divide up the Netanyahu interview and also the Albert Bourla interview. I thank you.